Boom, we are live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining me this evening. Beautiful Thursday night in Nashville, Tennessee. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's having a great night. Boom. Good to have y'all with me. I definitely appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We might as well go ahead and get on into it. I appreciate y'all being with me. Sorry I'm just a tad bit late. The daylight savings time threw me all out of whack. So what do y'all know about that gray death? Boom. What up, Fonzie? What up, Fonz? How you living, man? Long time no stream. Yeah. Where you been, bro? I appreciate everybody being with me tonight. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. You know the procedure. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Both of those handles are going to be the same. It's Rebelwithoutareason. What's up, SC Wolverines in the house? What's up, brother? I hung out with you a couple hours ago. We pulling them all-nighters over on Sonya's channel, boy. You can't get out of there. There's too much news going on. Guardius. What's up, my brother? Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Hope everybody else is doing good. Having a good night out there. I want to wait a couple seconds to get everybody in here before we get started on this thing. It's about to be wild tonight. We halfway through the week. Shit's already out of sort. They got new drugs on the market now. That was an accidental find from this police station. Prescott PD warning about a new drug called the Gray Death. Have you ever heard of that? Y'all ever heard of that Gray Death before? That's some new stuff to me. Mild where you are, 51 degrees. Let's do the weather before we get all into this. I guess we can do the weather for y'all. Beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. 59 degrees. Cloudy conditions will continue for the rest of the day. Wind gusts are up to 25 miles per hour. It's looking good all week. Gonna rain about 11 p.m. Carrying over till about, I'd say about 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's not going to be great all week, though. It's your 40s, 41. Here's how it goes in Tennessee, y'all. 56, 48, 41, 51, 56, 58, 72, 66, and 62. So you're going to go from 41 to 72 in 3 days. There might be some hail in that storm, Fonz. 58 to 72, and then a storm that very next day at 66 degrees. That's how it works, man. Be hailing up in here. Up in her. Up in her. No, sir, I got to get caught up with my drugs. I'm behind times over here. No Great Death over here. Yeah, it's the first time I ever seen it, man. Let's see what they got to say about it. Oh, you're in San Antonio working right now? Nice. How's it out there in Little Mexico? Shout out to my San Antonio viewers. Let's get into this thing. So this new drug called the Gray Death. They're warning the public after a dangerous drug was found at the scene of a recent overdose. Police say it's the first time the drug was found in this city. So other police departments might be familiar. Let's find out.
They're warning the community about a dangerous new drug called Gray Death. And as Team 12's Bianca Bono reports, police there say they now have their first case of it.
They are lucky to be alive.
Lieutenant Jason Kaufman of the Prescott Valley Police Department is talking about a recent overdose his department responded to, a call that led them to a dangerous discovery.
We believe we came across the Gray Death.
Gray Death, a drug never seen in Prescott Valley before. It's a cocktail of some of the strongest opioids out there.
If you use it, you don't know what you're using.
In this case, a mixture of carfentanil, fentanyl, and U47700, also known as pink.
Does anybody ever heard of this shit before? The Gray Death cocktail, carfentanil? I've never even heard of that. I've heard of the fentanyl before. The U4770 pink, I've never heard of that shit. I'm not no drug addict, so it's definitely out of my wheelhouse, but you pharmaceutical enthusiasts could tell me in the chat. Been up in the 80s where you at? Cool, cool. New to you, Guardius? Let's see what they say about it. They have a slang term for the U4770. It's called pink or whatever the hell it is.
People actually use this pink stuff to get some kind of euphoria, a high, if you will.
Discovering a new drug in a community leaves many unanswered questions.
That's Arizona
Who's
right there.
trafficking this stuff? Who's selling it? Who's transporting it? Where it's coming from?
According to data from Arizona's Department of Health Services, overdose deaths in the state have declined in recent years. In 2021, more than 2,000 overdose deaths, and in 2022, just over 1,800. So far this year, there have been 27.
God damn, y'all just now into it. Y'all 3 months into it, already got 27 people dead. 2021 was fucking some people up, though. What's up, Cat? Wolverine says anything U4770 sounds like death. Yeah, I know about that UB40, but I ain't never heard none of that before. Red wine. Actually, I'm going to add that to the song list. Shit, don't fuck with me. I'll do that right now. Sidetrack. Man, we always have a good time on the radio jam. I don't know what y'all doing to people that don't make it over to the radio jam. Y'all missing out. I'm telling you right now, over on the Rumble side, when we're doing the radio jam on Tuesday nights, we'll jam that shit into the midnight on into the next day. Anyway, back to these horrifying deaths over here.
We have seen a downswing on it, if you will, based on the training and the education that we are putting out. I'd like to think it's that.
Which is why Prescott Valley Police say they're notifying the public about Gray Death, which is now being sent to the DPS Crime Lab for further testing. Police sending a clear message to the community. This drug is dangerous.
Fentanyl is bad. Carfentanil is bad. All these illicit drugs are illicit and illegal for a reason.
And Prescott Valley Police say they have partnered with the DEA to tackle the opioid crisis. They say they'll try to figure out where this drug came from and just how widespread it is.
That's crazy as hell. That's crazy as hell. And you would think you're going to get to where you need to be just with fentanyl, you know what I mean? Or any of those other raggedy ass drugs. So you got to combine that shit now into some super drugs. Sonya says Trank has competition. Yeah, that was the name of that shit. Trank. That was a crazy movie. Sonya. Wolverine says Tuesdays are awesome with the music. Great times. Hell yeah, it's always good. We got a good one coming up too tomorrow. Tonight's movie night though. We're going to have Uncle Tom 2 up in that piece. Courtesy of the Fonz. Quiet as it's kept. Yeah, so you can't get where the hell you need to be with just fentanyl or the pink. One in the pink, two in the stink. Now you got the Gray Death. You want to combine that shit, make that super drug? Come on, man. Wolverine said it came from hell. You damn right. Yeah, how's your wife doing there? Getting better every day? That's cool, man. Oh, shout out to 007 girl, too. She was in ABL's chat last night. She finally made it home. And she said she was a little sore still and kind of out of it, but she's going to make it. She'll be fine. She's a trooper. I don't know if this border's going to make it, though. Check this out.
Is ABC 7 with breaking news.
Chaos at the Paso del Norte Bridge. Officials telling
Look at this
ABC
shit.
7 that earlier today, thousands of migrants were trying to force their way into the United States along our international bridges, and we have complete team coverage of the situation that unfolded earlier today. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our ABC 7 at 10 weekend. I'm Sam Harris-Samowitz. Border officials saying around 2,000 migrants showed up to the bridge several hours ago, and now we're seeing quite a different scene at this hour. We have ABC 7 weekend anchor Rosemary Montañez live from the Paso del Norte Bridge. Rosemary, what does that situation look like now?
Tell us what's up, Rosemary. Rosemary on the street.
Is open once again. You can see traffic is flowing in and out of this area. Now this comes after this area was paralyzed this afternoon and after hours of anguish and desperation. Now U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials say around 1:30 this afternoon.
Look at this shit. These are all uniformed up folks. They got their helmets and shit on right here. So, and they got razor wire and looks like all around. Everybody looks orderly and fashionable. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
A group of migrants managed to storm to the top of the bridge. This happened after rumors were circling that migrants would be allowed to cross into the United States without any documentation. While at the top of the bridge, the group was rioting and demanding officials allow them into the U.S. CBP officers were seen in protective gear, and authorities were forced to place a physical barrier trying to block migrants from getting into the U.S. As a result, the PDM bridge was closed, but officials also had to temporarily close the bridge of the.
Where's them damn big ass trucks with the hoses and shit, man? Put that pepper spray on those fools. Yeah, I heard that too, Sonia. The illicit drugs are being put in the smoke. Yeah, you're going to get more than you bargained for nowadays.
And the Stanton Bridge. ABC 7 talked to one man who was trying to cross over just before those migrants.
That's a lot of fucking people, though.
So then I came across, and as soon as I got my documents back and the lady said, "Have a nice day," she started saying, you know, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. And then that's when you see everybody, all the Homeland Security and Border Patrol running towards up the bridge. And they immediately closed down the bridge. You can see that they were moving all the barbed wire fencing and all the cement blockings that they have there. They put them up pretty quick.
And all of this unfolded today, just 2 months before the expected lifting of Title 42. County officials say this moment has been building up for months. And to talk a little bit more about that, I want to bring in ABC 7's Carrie Mannix.
So 2 months, they're going to be lifting that Title 42 supposedly again? Or I guess last time they had it in stay or some shit. Always messing around.
Carrie.
Yeah, that's right, Rose. What an event like what we saw.
So Wolverine said they have those trucks with that hit you with the power sound waves that make your ears bleed. Hell yeah, that's what they need to do out there. Give them that Hulk Sonic clap, you know what I mean? Get the fuck up out of here, you little assholes.
On this bridge today, it impacts both people from El Paso and from Juarez, and that leads to a lot of confusion. And a lot of people were trying to make sense of that today.
Why does it take 2 reporters to show us we got people at the border? They all gone now. Ain't nobody there. Did they let them all in, or what happened? Everybody got their paperwork and went on back home. They don't really follow up with rest of the story was. I mean, they tried to get in. I don't know if they actually got in. Probably. Stay tuned for part 2. What about this damn body found in a shopping cart outside of the California supermarket? Sonic Boom.
Chico PD is searching for answers after a body was found in a shopping cart right here in front of Food Max. On Sunday,
dude, what the hell would you do if you went to go get your groceries at Food Max and there's a dead body in the damn shopping cart? When would be the time of span that would be enough for you to go back to that establishment? A week? The week after? 2 weeks? You would never go there again?
on 4 p.m., someone called police about the body in the shopping cart.
There was some obviously suspicious circumstances. Body was found wrapped in plastic inside of a cart, shopping cart, and there were some apparent injuries that were reported, and so a homicide investigation was initiated.
Detective Lieutenant Brian Miller told me they got security footage from Food Max.
We were able to see some movement. We were able to see the shopping cart, a suspect, and the decedent moving on the sidewalk here. So we came back out just to take a second look.
On Monday afternoon, investigators were canvassing the area, taking samples of stains on the ground. Lieutenant Miller told me they were taking samples based off the path of the shopping cart that they saw in the security footage. Chico PD officers were seen investigating all the way to World Market. Miller also told me, based off the footage, he believes the shopping cart was there for a long time.
The indication we have, it was there for days. I don't know how long, but the cart.
Wow, what the fuck? With the body in there for days? Yeah, suspicious, wrapped in plastic. He was there in suspicious circumstances for sure. I don't think he fell asleep in there.
Was placed over there by the entrance for days.
With the person in it.
Presumably, yeah. The plastic in the cart are over there, so I presume.
Wow. Like the employees didn't give a fuck. Like, man, that's a bunch of trash. I ain't taking that out. These customers are stupid. Why would they put something in a shopping cart with just in a big plastic bag? I'm not taking that out. I'm not moving that. There for a long time. Yeah, dude, what? What?
Bodies inside the whole time.
People we spoke with were shocked by the news, but also found the situation strange.
It's kind of weird. I mean, it's not something you see here in Chico every day.
Chico PD couldn't tell me what type of injuries were found on the body. That will be determined by the coroner's office.
Wow, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? They don't know how long it was there. How many people walked by that shit and was just like, man, that ain't my problem. No big deal. Don't even worry about it, bro. Don't even worry about it. Probably came from a homeless camp or something, probably. You know, they're all into those shopping carts over there. That's the transport. Or, I mean, somebody could have killed the person, dumped their body in the fucking shopping cart and just took it around front. Who knows? They just do weird shit, man. Why would, if you did that, why wouldn't you just leave it out back? Or so weird. It's probably a serial killer. They like doing that shit and taunting police, you know? What about this 11-year-old girl that was killed by a stray bullet?
Jennifer, not only is Keontae Parks an accused killer, his charges plastered on this wanted flyer indicate he's also a gang member. No surprise to those who live in the complex where this 6th grader was killed. The sign reads Northside member. No surprise.
No, I ain't no fashionista or nothing, but look at this dude's get up right here. Is this shit clashing right here, Sonia? He's got the green, brown, and like a purplish blue jacket. You tell me, that shit looks gaudy as fuck. Did his mama dress him in that? What is this? What's going on here?
to those who live in the complex where this 6th grader was killed. The sign reads Northside Hills Apartments, but it's better known throughout Spalding County as Spalding Heights.
Technically, Spalding Heights is listed as the hood in Spalding County, so nobody cares, it seems like.
A neighbor who asked we not identify her says the violence inside the complex is out of control.
And the gun violence is getting worse. Most of it's gang violence, but most of the people that are doing this don't even stay out here.
As for those who do live here, it puts them in a tough spot, trying to stay afloat in this economy while at the same time trying to protect their family.
Yeah, I'm young, single mom, 4 kids, so it's kind of like it should be a step.
Look at that bullet hole in that siding right there.
You know, it's supposed to be a stepping stone to help, and it's not. It's always, we got to deal with this type of stuff, and it's always ignorant everywhere you go. It's always
She must be talking about like Section 8 housing or something.
going on out here.
On Tuesday morning, the Spalding County Sheriff's Office says an 11-year-old girl was shot in her sleep. You can see 2 bullet holes outside her bedroom on the 2nd floor of Building J.
That could have happened to anybody's shot. Bullets don't have a name on it.
The Sheriff's Office says these 2 bullets were meant for someone else. Word quickly spread as to what went down outside the building.
They just started shooting.
So there were multiple shots fired.
Yes, it was an ambush. It was a shootout.
This young mother says it's upsetting because something should have been done long before an innocent child's life was taken.
This is not the first murder, senseless murder. This has been going on. This is what brought attention to all of this senselessness. Most of this has been getting swept under the rug.
The 11-year-old has not been identified tonight, but just a short time ago, I confirmed she was a 6th grader at Cohen Road Middle School in Griffin.
That's stupid as hell, man. 11 years old, not bothering no damn body, not involved in any old gang dumb shit, not fucking around with nobody. People dumb as hell. Cat says 8-year-old in Greensboro, North Carolina was asleep on the top bunk and was shot. She was released from the hospital today. Oh, goodness. Thank God she survived, though. You know what I mean? Like that little girl dead. She don't have no future whatsoever. It's done. Because somebody want to do some dumbass shit. They don't want to be disrespected in front of their homies. Fuck out of here with that dumb shit. What's going on with Kamala Harris, man? Who is this guy sniffing on her right here? ABL posted this. Shout out to ABL. Make sure y'all follow ABL on Twitter. That's at Anthony B. Logan. Follow him over there. He posted it, or he replied to it, liked to it, retweeted it, or whatever the hell. Some dude just got caught live on television sniffing Kamala Harris. Like, who is this guy? They're at some kind of basketball game, and then Secret Service is letting people get this close to her? Is this real life? What's going on right now? He took a big old whiff, too. He's Joe Biden territory right there. Don't you know you're on my wave, Sonny? Who is that guy? Sony said to be fair, his outfit fall in the realm of muted tones, but definitely got too much going on with that turtle shell print tie. Not cohesive. Yeah. It just looked gaudy as hell to me all at one time. I'm like, ooh, that's ugly. Yeah, sniffing up Hills Up Harris's Creepy Joe's job. See, been looky, see, monkey, do. Let's see what the replies are, see if anybody called him out who it was. Supposedly it's doctored information. It's doctored video. Uh-huh. Woogie. Let me see here. So you saw the headline there. French fries and cookies and cakes. What the hell's going on in France right now? I got off work and that motherfucker's on fire now. They're burning down France. What's going on in France right now? They making French fries. Shit just got out of control. What's going on over there? Call in and let me know. 615-348-5482. 615-348-5482. Speak of the devil, what's up, alien? You seeing this the French connection going on over here? What's going on here, man? That's somebody's lazy boy, it almost looks like, right there on fire. Everybody's taking video all up high and people are throwing stuff down that's on fire, or... It's hard to get the full scope of what's happening here. It's only one street from this point of view. Are people throwing this stuff down, or are they burning it on the street? Almost looks like luggage or a cart or something. I'm not sure. You tell me. I can't call it. You call me and tell me. Appreciate y'all being with me tonight. Shit's about to get mostly peaceful. Yeah, from what I heard, they did some. It was in response to Macron overriding the legislature. So it was about the retirement age or something, but he's like being dictatorship type shit. So there's some kind of a dictator whatnot going on over there. I can't say for sure. Mostly peaceful though, yeah. You're clear for landing, sir. How are you?
Okay, I will land. I'm doing good. Yeah. So I see that you're showing France burning.
Yeah, what's going on over there? Have you heard any news?
Well, usually I do keep up with things that are going over there. I don't know what's going on in this particular situation, but I do know what's been going on with France is that they've been having problems with the migrants, and similar things with their left and the right are having conflicts, and they're probably frustrated with their, the different mandates and things. So I think it probably has something to do with that, but I'm not particularly sure exactly in this situation what it is, but it's one of those things or all of them. Now, so when did you see this?
It was posted today. Shout out to Ian Miles Chong today. It was about 3 hours ago that this was posted. I'm not sure, as far as time zones go and whatnot, exactly when that happened. Probably yesterday, last night, maybe.
Yeah, well, because, coincidentally, I mean, I just hate French fries. So maybe they came from over there.
It's possible.
Yeah. So, basically, I have some ancestry from France from both sides, also not from my dad's side in England, but they went to like Canada, and they went to England, and I went here. And also Louisiana has that. So I'm glad that you showed that because, I take an interest in France. Now, I'll elaborate on something I just mentioned, that there is an issue over there with radical Islamic migration, and they have migration from uncivilized countries in Africa. And like, they're not like the people here. They're like people that are like a bunch of like pirates and like thugs and stuff that are like worse than people here. And I guess the people must have had enough of it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the video in Ireland, I believe it was, where they're doing like the daily prayer, and it was the whole city pretty much doing it. Like, you're shutting down the city to do that stuff.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was Ireland. Let's see if I can find that.
I've been doing some things, but that's good. I've been doing some things I've been doing some other stuff with my channel and technology and things, and I wasn't completely focused on that. But yeah, so I'm part Irish also, and yeah, because the people, especially in England, are very fed up with what they've been doing in Australia, and I know that there's only so much people can take until they revolt, like we did here in America.
Yeah, it seems like it's getting kind of out of control. They're fighting people, they're attacking people, they're stabbing people. I mean, some of the stuff I saw was like, wow, I wouldn't expect that, especially like I said, the prayer in the middle of the day, blocking all the traffic like that. I don't know when that was, or you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I know in France, I was shown, because my one of my relatives was kind of, you know, innocent, has innocence, and they kind of believe what the news says. But I like show them England and these different things where some of the radical Islamic people, they'll pray in the streets everywhere, and they'll be blocking traffic and stuff. And you know, in France especially, in these different places, and it's like real scary. And the governments just bring them in, and then the native peoples there are, you know, could be in a potentially bad situation. It's not like here where, that's why I told you before in many different calls, I told all of you, it's good that America revolted and made it its own thing.
Yeah, I think that I was talking to Sonia about this kind of yesterday, and how everybody's really complacent about the freedoms that we have here. Everybody's so worried about genders and stuff like that, that we were talking about a North Korean defector. That's what got us on the subject. And she said that she had never even seen a mattress before until she got here. You know, so the things that we take for granted every single day, that she was just like in awe of the stuff. You know what I mean? And I was saying that it's going to take like boots on the ground, a war here, before people change their perspective.
Oh, I totally agree. I remember, Alice, you might be talking about the same lady. So there was this lady that's a North Korean defector, and she was in a gulag, and, you know, she was talking about it, and, you know, all the terrible things that happened there. And then when she came here, it was a whole new world. And she was saying about how a lot of the people here are doing the same things that they did over there to bring communism over there. And I do think it's especially frightening to people that from Cuba, that are like in Florida, in places that were in these communist countries, and they come here, and the people here are trying to do it. It is quite frightening.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same lady.
Yeah.
She was really humble.
She was on Joe Rogan.
Yes,
she was on Joe Rogan.
Yes, she played that interview, a little bit of it too, and that's where I think I'd seen her on one of those before. I don't know how many interviews that she had done with him, but I thought she was talking about this Chinese defector, which is another young lady that was talking about the shots and all that stuff, and how China had it out for us, and people are kind of naive to that fact.
Oh yeah. So basically, they want their revolution where they conquer the world. And remember, the communists in China, like I was telling you last time, they were the Bolshevik influence. They went there, and I think there's some of those banks in that area, like some of those bankers. They have places in China, so they're really behind that one. And so they wanted to cause a economic problem so they could get more profits.
So are you saying that they were behind the SVF thing?
That's what I think, in my opinion.
Mm.
And it's a giant ploy. Like I was looking at, there are certain bankers, and they support the drag queens and the LGBTQ stuff in BLM because it brings them more money.
Yeah, if it didn't bring them any money, they wouldn't do it, you think?
No. Well, I mean, who really knows? Are those people, they'll have these like parties and stuff and do weird stuff. They're into weird things. But like the main focus has to do with making profits. Like a lot of, other, my subscribers, some of our companions on YouTube I'll talk to, and they'll tell me about how a lot of these big corporations, they just support the LGBTQ and stuff because it makes them look good so they could get more clients and make more money. So the big goal behind it is making more money. Like, so with BLM, for instance, ABL or somebody mentioned this maybe yesterday or something like that, where BLM made $10 billion or something, but nothing went to the black community. It just went to the people that these people that are trying to do these schemes to make money.
Yeah, I think it was $82 billion that was from SVF to BLM.
Yes, and they want to cause these problems because you might remember with the. Although I told you with communism, they give off mixed signals and they say different things that contradict each other. Like you go through the whole book and it contradicts itself the whole time. But so basically, they tell people something like what ABL and I were talking about one of the other streams ago, where the wealthy people really vote for the Democrats because it benefits them because they make their stuff more expensive and whatnot. And in the same way, the communism thing, like these people will take over a country and all of its resources, and then they own all the stuff. They seize the means of production. Karl Marx had to do that. But that just means, the people get, a couple of scraps, and the people in charge get everything. It's really just a reverse psychology scheme.
Yeah, for sure. Sonia says that Yemeni Park was the North Korean defector.
Okay. Thanks to her for saying that.
Yeah, she had a couple of questions for you too. I don't know if she wants to put those in the chat or not while you're on the line, but Sonia, you're welcome.
You could
go ahead.
If you could recite something, I'll see if I could. I'll see what's up.
Yeah, she probably will drop it in the chat if she does.
All right. Yeah. But so with France, France had a revolution against the monarch in the 1700s, I think, not 1800s or something like that. Those are completely different years, but France is extremely old-fashioned, especially New Orleans is old-fashioned. So I get confused just because it's timeless. But I think it was the 1800s. I think Karl Marx may have been around. I'm not sure. I have to do more research on that because I know it, but I kind of don't quite recall it exactly. But so there's a French Revolution, and they overthrew the monarch, but they were kind of like the leftists, and they were kind of persecuting Christianity, and they were being promiscuous, and they were, not saying that the king was necessarily great. I didn't really study too much about him, but a lot of these things, although we as patriots, of course, believe in our, breakaway from England, but that was totally different than these other revolutions that happened in Europe, because we wanted to break away for various reasons, and it's good for people to have liberty and justice and whatnot, but there's these other forces from the left that kind of cause more trouble, and they oppose us because they're on the left.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about the Notre Dame that got burnt down a little while back?
Yeah, that was a little while back. I almost thought that was an inside job for some reason. I don't know, but that's what my instincts were telling me.
Yeah, some people think that it was an inside job, definitely. And certain people did certain things, and some people thought it was a sign from God and whatnot. But you see, I became Protestant later because it made more sense to me. And I have problems with the Pope. I always had problems with the Pope, the idea of the Pope, in my opinion. But especially now, this Pope is doing a lot of things against Christianity, and that should contradict itself, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and because he was trying to get people to not vote for Trump. And make political references, And
what the hell would the Pope have? We even care about elections? You know what I mean? Like that. It's so far above and beyond elections. What would he even care about that petty stuff?
Right, and you would think that, a lot of Catholics support Trump, actually, and, because of the conservative Christian values that he has. But basically, with Trump, with the Pope, it's strange that he would be for the other side, because the other side is anti-Christian and was supported the Bolshevik, communist, socialist stuff. And then he supports, although there are good, as I said, not all Muslims are bad, of course. And they do have some, there's like some things that were put in there to look like it was part of Christianity to get people to follow it. But the Pope wanting to bring all these Muslims in, and these people that could want to go and hurt the Christians in Europe, because there is in their thing, they want to take over Europe and make it Islamic. So it just, as I said, this is where the point is somewhat proven that the Pope, it was, that it can be corrupted, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. All the Muslims in Ireland over there, it seems like they're just trying to take things over. I mean, and people are nice, they don't want to they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but you better wake up over there to what's really happening. I mean, it's going to come to a boiling point at some time, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, because, and I, look at different channels and things that, refute Islam, and it's very important that they do that, and I'm, learned a lot about it. And I learned different things about debating people and stuff. Like on ABL, there was a time where he was talking about the Christians, how the Muslims are not persecuted like the Christians. And, and I told him, and I did it a certain way to disarm them, where they wouldn't figure out what exactly was going on, but I had made it clear to him that they're not the same thing we are. They don't believe in a Trinity. They don't believe Jesus was God. And, I made that clear because the Muslims are saying they're the same religion as we are, and they're lying to him. This is in Arabia. There is this Christian king, and these Muslims came over and said they're the same religion. And then they tricked him and said, yeah, we believe the Spirit came upon Mary and had Jesus. But they don't believe he's a divine being, and they believe if you believe that, you go to hell. But they leave different things out. That's why ABL, I made it very clear, they don't believe in what we believe in.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard Mark Levine was talking about the Quran and how it says certain things in there that you're not really supposed to say. I don't know if you're familiar with any of his reports on that.
I've heard of that name, and it's somebody I need to look into, but that's good that he's exposing it. And, the guy, like Muhammad, he had a 9-year-old wife.
Yeah, and from what I heard, it was a white guy. From what I heard from his reporting, it's a white dude, and that's why you're not supposed to draw his face or show any images of him whatsoever, because the whole shit will be blown out of the water.
Right. You see, when I was in ABL Live, I told ABL that Muhammad was white, and David Wood is an Islamic, like a Christian apologist, rather, and he was saying, made it clear Muhammad's white. And you see, when I say Muhammad's white, this debunks the black Islam thing, which is ridiculous. And Muhammad was saying that when you trade an animal for an animal, is a black person for a black person, that there's a black Muslim and he wants to be with Muhammad. He said, okay, animal, come over here. And basically, they had slavery in there, and they still do it over there today. And I just don't really understand how they got these black people to join in. But this is the thing, though. They're very emotional. They were taught by the Marxists to dislike the white people. And then they, they masqueraded themselves really well, and they got into it.
Yeah, for sure. Sonia sent this quote. She wants me to read it to you. Someone said this. Are you ready?
All right.
It says, it's not hard to fathom that leftist banks are failing. They plan to fail. Anytime you're sending billions of dollars to corrupt front groups and nations such as BLM and the Ukraine, you will go broke and bankrupt. Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank both failed, but won't be the last banks to fail corrupt. Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, and Bank of America are next. Because globalists plan for them all to fail. One more. They want us to replace the banking system and the dollar with CBCDs, central bank digital currency, so they can enslave humanity better. The bank has the bank runs and bail-ins have begun, or bailouts, I guess.
Okay, thanks to Sonia for the very, very good quote she said. And I totally agree with that, what she's saying, because they want to cause as I told you, as I said before when I first got on here when we were talking about the crisis in France, that I will look into, and I'll send you an email about it later on, and when I will get more information about it, exactly what's going on. So basically with the banks, they will start with BLM, starting with these different things in Ukraine. They cause these financial schemes, so there's a collapse, because as Trump says, everything woke. I think he said everything woke goes to shit. I think he said that.
Yep.
And basically, when they want to cause these big events to occur, all these events that we've had, and then they make it a certain way and twist it around, so then it enslaves the people better, as she said. That's a very, very true quote. And, because the liars are very great magicians.
Yeah.
Right. And in the 30s, like I said to ABL yesterday, in Germany in the 20s, they did these things. And they did these little tricks and things. And also in America, there was a Great Depression. And different institutions were falling down. And these people, were not corrected. This era was not corrected. And it was not regulated for some reason. I don't know why. And then they're given this free reign over the world again to do this again, because if you don't stop them, now I'm not, these particular individuals doing this, they're going to keep doing it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, how do you stop them then? It's going to take actually boots on the ground or face-to-face type situation?
Very good question. You see, I have studied, through YouTube. I mean, there's a little raccoon in front of me. He's in a tree right now, and that was funny. So, basically, what you do is, I look at something called The Art of War. There's on YouTube. There's an audio book that you all could look at for free, and I think you all should, in spare time, you could, look at that. And so, basically,
what's the book
Sun
called?
Tzu, which was The Art of War.
Yes. Okay.
So Sun Tzu was a general in China who's before it became communist, way back, maybe hundreds and hundreds of years before it became a communist country. And so he was a general. He's very successful. And he said the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. And this is with the tactics that the left is currently using against us. When they were able to get China and they're able to get all the resources, and then they, learn these different things. And, the Marxists read a lot of books and whatnot, because they were very, book smart, but they lacked the social ability to figure out their idea was bad. So I think the best thing to do is it would take strategy and tactics, because, if you have strategy without tactics, it's the slowest route to victory, and tactics without strategy is a noise before defeat. So it must be well planned, it must be well orchestrated, and if we could subdue them without fighting, that would be great. And also to take something that is dear to the enemy away. This is a great way to get them moved. So it's something dear to them. And also, on desperate ground is where you would fight. In a desperate situation, you'd fight. But in all these other situations, you keep going and keep going. And as I said, it would just need to be planned out over time. And I think we would have to wait to see how things go, to see if Trump or even if DeSantis were to get in there and do something good, see if we could change things around. And it would just have to be planned out, correctly. But yeah, it may have to be boots in the ground. That may be an option. And you got to remember, America is such a gigantic country. It would be quite a task to help it out. But as I said, the masses, the people in America being enlightened, like through your channel, through what I do, what we're all doing, in enlightening as many people as possible is the first step of bringing a mass awareness to the world about what's going on. And then that'll go into a better direction. So that's like my answer about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Right. And basically, with the different, banking dynasties and stuff, they were able to infiltrate the crown of Europe. Because you got to remember, although I do like the royal family and stuff, and it has to do with, I look, related to them, that's a factor, and it was from the country where my dad came from and whatnot, but I'm not blindly following them, but I know that they've been compromised by the different banking people.
Who's been compromised?
Huh?
Who'd you say was compromised?
I must have, okay, the phone, I had it in a bad position. So, the royal family has, I feel, may have been compromised by the banking dynasties.
Oh, yeah. Why do you say that?
Well, in my opinion, I feel that a lot of their influence, like decisions and stuff they make, are, that the people that control the money in England are the ones that are really in control of it. And I feel a lot of the stuff they've done were because the banking people wanted them to do it, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really make any money. Where does all their money come from? From the people?
Royal family.
Taxes or?
Okay, so the royal family, a very, very long time ago, this different people going way back, and I'm not going to take a year to say this, but so, our ancestors went over to, and took over that place from the Celtic people that we're both related to both of them. And then they had England, and then so the royal family had these, they acquired these assets and things. So they make money from the assets and stuff that they have from generations, kind of like, a rental property, or say if they had a museum or a place people could go. And I probably taxes too. I'm not quite sure about that, but I know for sure it's like estates and things they have. And she gets she's not around anymore, but they get like a salary, and it's a figurehead now. It doesn't have any political power. Like I feel, and like the Second World War, although, as I said, I feel that from things I've looked up that, maybe King George wanted to make peace with the Germans, and then they didn't really, Churchill may have been influenced by the financial people, and then they didn't want them to make peace with it because of a financial crisis. Say America and these different people want to free the people in the camps, and they want to get rid of a totalitarian regime, but some of these people in England, from, I could be wrong, from my perspective, they may have, thought his system was a threat to their economic system. So in the end, I feel that in the long run, they'll be influenced by them to make the decisions. I'm not against the royal family and all. I like them and all. I just think maybe they could have some strings attached to them, maybe. Okay, you go on.
So, where do they go from here? Who's pulling their strings? I mean, they're supposed to be the biggest of the biggest there. I mean, nobody's above the royal family. Who's above them? Who holds the money?
I personally think
China.
I think in my opinion, I could be wrong. And this is just a theory, everybody. It could be wrong. I think the Rothschild family could.
Yeah, they're the bankers of the bankers.
Right. And I think they have a couple of $1 trillion.
Yeah, I mean, they have more money than we'll ever even can fathom in our minds.
Right. And also, I believe they have a bank in China.
Oh, really? The royal family has a bank in China?
No, the Rothschilds.
Oh, the Rothschilds do. Okay. What?
Right.
What?
So the Rothschilds, it means it's not Rothschilds like you would think in English. It's Rothschild. Like my last name is Schmidt, right? So the SCH.
Okay.
The Rothschilds. So it means red shield. Nathan Rothschild had a red shield over his little banking house, and it was the hexagram, the Star David, and he had him and his family, and they would have banking things in different countries, and that's where they got their name from and the different stuff. And I think the trade in the thing is pretty cool, but the thing is, maybe some people could have used it for bad, like if you're going to fund BLM and Antifa and stuff. I don't think that's right, but people could use that gift to do something good for people. And as I said, in my opinion, I think it could be used for good, but maybe some people don't always use it for good, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. It seems like you want to use it for control more than anything else. I mean, what's more powerful?
Right. And also, I think with, like say for instance, in England, during the American Revolution, the king wanted to keep his empire together, and America was with England nearly for 200 years. So there was a time where, like, the Patriot people and the British people got along, and what happened was, the king was there, and the parliament was causing problems and with America, and the king is like kind of far away, and the people didn't, not all the people, but some of the people didn't really feel like they're being treated right, and then they broke off. And I think they probably can foresee what was going on in Europe now.
Yeah.
With the different crises and whatnot. So basically those are my thoughts about like the Rothschilds, and I think the royal family did support BLM.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody and their mama supported that mess, and that was just a big, huge money laundering scheme.
Right. And I remember when they, it would be nice like if they did what they said they were going to do, but they didn't really. I live in a black area because my family chose to stay and not do the white flight thing, and yeah, I don't really see the effects of the BLM money. And I was saying to some of my liberal black friends what these people were doing, and they were like, wow, that's a lot of money. And they started to wake up and say like, hey, that these people aren't really giving the people any money that they say they are.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the people that benefited was the top spokespeople, I guess you would say, like Patrice Cullors and all of her immediate cohorts. Anybody in her immediate circle are the ones that benefited, not the regular person on the ground or anybody even connected to any case. I don't know if any case that they backed anybody or protested with or anything. I don't think they even got any benefits from being associated with them.
Right. And also, I feel, the different banking dynasties were funding it, as I said, earlier, to make money off the people. And I feel the radical Islamic raid that we were having, like we were talking about before, that is another way to destabilize the country and to dismantle Christianity. And I think it's strange how these Muslims say how they're, they have these certain conservative values, but they vote for the leftist side.
Yeah, when did they say they have conservative values?
Well, they claim to have conservative values because they're for Abrahamic. They really aren't, but they say they're against they believe in God. They're against the gay rights stuff, and they're against the different things like that, and they're religious. So, but they really don't, and they don't really support the side that they say to, because their religion was supposed to say that they're against it, but they vote for those people anyway, and it just shows their hypocrisy and how they're very, deceptive people. Like I told you, like on ABL, they're trying to trick everybody, and I caught it, and I went in there and like, no, it's specifically, it's the Trinity, and we believe Jesus is the Son of God, and they don't. So my point is that basically, they say they're something, but they really are doing something else. That's my point.
Yeah, what's their motivation for doing that, though?
Oh, well, simply. So they go into a place, and this has to go back to Muhammad, when in the thing I talked about before, when Muslims were going over there to because they're being persecuted by the pagan Arabs, and when they're a minority group in a country, they act very nice and respectful and everybody, and they say they're for women's rights and they're for gay rights and for this and for that and for black people, and then they get more people to join them and like them, and then they get a little bit more people in, and they get a little bit more aggressive, and the more power they get, and then they have the caliphate, and then they want to make an Islamic state everywhere once they get more people.
What do you think is more dangerous, like the Islamic religion overtaking places like Ireland, soon to come to America, or the immigrants that are coming here? They're from all nationalities too, so I guess it's kind of hand in hand.
That's a very good question. I remember earlier, I was getting myself ready to come outside, so I didn't tell you all hello quite yet. But I remember you were saying earlier, all those immigrants that were coming through the border, and I have a good point to tell you about that. So my cousin, when he was alive, from the stuff he researched, that a lot of terrorist sleeper cells are maybe coming through the border, like those radical Islamic people going to come through there. And it's a good question. I think they're both, dangerous for the Irish people and the people in Europe, and it's dangerous for us. And I think another thing that would be dangerous for our side is that we don't really know who's coming through. Like Sun Tzu said, know yourself and know your enemy, and everything will be okay. But if you don't know yourself and your enemy, it could be always stay calm and you can get it done. Because if you're not in a calm state of mind, you're going to have a problem. But yeah, if you don't know what your enemy is doing, it could be a problem. So we don't really know what is coming through the border down there exactly. So I think, that's even more of a frightening thing.
Yeah, and speaking of knowing your enemy, do you think that China has studied our society so much that they know almost what our next move will be?
Oh, yes, certainly, Rebel. They definitely, because, this Sun Tzu's Art of War came from China. And basically, they know their ways and they're required to study it. And ironically and oddly, our people are supposed to study it too. Like, millions of people are supposed to study it. So that leads to the conclusion what on ABLI, this guy, the number one MAGA general, was saying, how our top people have been corrupted. So yeah, China knows our every move through TikTok, through the balloon, and through everything else, and through watching us on TV. They know everything very well, and they know their enemy very well, and they know themselves. So at any moment, God forbid, they would come in and do what they would do, and they see how they subdued us without fighting. How we're killing each other off, and this inflation's happening and all, and they're just sitting there just watching it.
Yeah, and I was saying yesterday on Sonia's channel that it would be a good time to attack somebody. All of your people are discouraged. They're all confused. The military is torn to hell. Everybody's dying from who knows what. Everybody's pretty weak right now. If you had people in a multifaceted attack on this country, how do you think we would fare?
Well, I would hope that, now, with God, I would hope that he would spare the people, but understanding, or at least on an individual level, but understanding that God would be very upset with America with turning its back on Christianity, and God can allow, these things to occur if we don't follow the Lord, and they, will let us go, like the Great Babylon thing in the Bible. So I think if there is an attack, they would... if they could have this weapon maybe where they would knock out the power source and they would just come through, and America's a big place, and I think the patriots and all would fight. Now, we got to remember, though, there's part of the country that aren't patriots, where in the West Coast, ironically, you see is very liberal, and they can't have guns or any kind of self-defense really over there. So, and that's right where China would invade. See?
Yeah, and with the whole Russia thing too, they're getting the backing from China because they hate us as much as anybody else. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend, obviously. But
right.
Did you see the drone footage of where their Russian jets attacked that drone and shot it down? Our drone.
I heard about the drone through Twitter, but I wasn't really keeping up currently with exactly what was going on right now because of some stuff I was doing with the technology stuff. But I heard about that. Yeah, that's really, interesting that they, did that. And, America, as I said, Putin was saying how there's many, people here that are against it and they're aware of that. And as I said, thank God so far we haven't had a problem where they went in and attacked us. And there's another thing that they say in the Art of War where to not completely destroy or demolish the enemy's nation, we'll leave some things up because it will be beneficial to have. And when you go through a place, you plunder it, and you just keep on kind of going forward. So they could see a value in keeping America there and not completely wiping it out and draining us financially, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. They're knocking down statues and stuff that they don't want to see when they get home. You know what I mean? Knock all this stuff down, move all this stuff out of the way, so when I come in here, I'm not going to have to do that later, and it's demoralizing to all your people.
Right, because they first did the Confederate statues, and then they did and then when BLM and Antifa it was the summer 2020 when they were raiding the country, they were basically tearing down Ulysses S. Grant statue and Abraham Lincoln. They vandalized the statue completely, actually, and they had to clean it up. And I'm glad that we had Trump in during that time. if we had a Hillary or a Brandon in there, I mean, it would have been really, really bad. And, you know, and you see, look, there's another thing I learned from The Art of War, that there's spies, right? So there's, you know, converted spies, and there's spies like in a home nation. And you could use these spies in a place for your bidding and whatnot. And so say, you know, I'm in New Orleans and I'm here and I help you all out that are up there in different parts. You know, I'm like somebody that's like telling what's going on here. So the Antifa and BLM are simply spies that were put here by the Chinese. So, and the different people, so they can fight America without actually fighting us by putting boots on the ground. They can get the people in the host nation to fight itself for them.
Yeah, I had a theory. I'm thinking that they're corrupt at the very top of the government and the school, universities and all that stuff. I mean, they teach what the curriculum is put forth onto them. So wouldn't you think that if China had a strategy, okay, we're going to start from the very top, infiltrate everybody, and it's just going to trickle from the top down?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So at some point, as I told you, through cultural Marxism, and the Chinese thought it was useful, so they went along with it. They would first, you know, go through the educational systems and whatnot, and the American government at some point got corrupted, and they were able to do, as you said, trickle down, and they were able to dumb down the people through the media. They're able to dumb down the people through the different stuff of, like, at schools you just mentioned. Like Mark Dice, you know, he's a YouTuber. I think we all know about him in California, and he goes around the beach and he asks people about who was George Washington or who wrote the Constitution, you know, and what is the capital of America? And they said, we don't have a capital. So they wanted to make people so dumbed down.
Oh, I know, it's so dumb. I love Mark Dice. He does lots of really great videos, and I love those man on the streets, because some people, you hear their responses, they don't want to be politically incorrect. Some people are strong with it, though. They know the facts. They know what's up. And I'm like, at least not everybody is asleep, but a lot of them are, man. They're clueless. They're dumb. And if, like, well, my whole point, if they did attack here, the majority of people that are soft and are not ready mentally for the stuff that are even happening right now, what the hell do you think is going to happen when they really do have boots on the ground and they are actually attacking us now? Like, it's on. It's time to do it. Wow. What are they going to do? They're going to cry and push you in front of the first truck that comes. You know what I mean? They're going to call the cops and be like, these people next door, they got guns. They're going to round everybody up.
Yeah, that's a good point. And another thing I learned from The Art of War, from Sun Tzu, was that you basically have to he was talking about blind bravery can cause one to fight like a mad bull, but then you could be led into an ambush and slain. So if you're dealing with an opponent that is in blind bravery, you lead them into an ambush and slay them. So it would be good for these patriots that are going to be defending their homes and stuff to do it in such a way where they're dark and impenetrable as the night, and where these other enemies won't see it. And, you know, that's a good point, you know, talking to you about this, because, you know, the converted spies, the Antifa, the liberals and all, they're doing the work of the Chinese for them. Mm-hmm. So they go, oh, look, this person has a gun, this person has this. So they're doing the work of the army of China for them and clear the way out. And another thing I forgot to mention is about Cuba. I wonder if there would be used for something too.
As like a staging area, or what do you think?
No, because like New Orleans is the port, and New Orleans is kind of like a blue city, but there's the people here are pretty, you know, conservative, even if they don't realize it, they're more conservative than liberal. But like I could see the Cubans wanting to take it over through there, but it's unlikely, as I said, for them to come with boots in the ground in America, because the Art of War was clear. If you could subdue the enemy without fighting at all, that's the supreme art of war. That's the main goal in warfare, is to subdue them without fighting. So what they're really, this whole time we've been in a war with China and Russia, is just that we've, you know, not realized it because they didn't come here physically.
Yeah, but there's still active war going on, like an information war, like Salty says. Perpetrated by our own media, too, which is crazy as hell.
Oh, yeah, because, like, CNN, like, when I was coming up, I thought, you know, CNN presented itself and marketed itself as the most, you know, this the official American news source for everything. And then as the time went on, I saw them just become these, you know, fools. And, like, I would see them cover the Middle Eastern wars and the president stuff and whatnot, and then I see them, what they turned into, and they probably always were liberal, I guess. And I just didn't know that when I was young. And yeah, them and all these different people have been compromised because the sheeple, what are being used as the converted spies by the enemy, the cultural Marxists that took America a long time ago, and the other countries that are benefiting from the cultural Marxist influence that was here. They're using them as a brainwashing camp, so to speak. So they say, these totalitarian regimes had concentration camps, communism in Nazi Germany. Say now what it is CNN and these people are like the re-educational camps, but they're not putting people in a place. They're just doing it in a mass worldwide because people don't think they're at war.
Mm-hmm.
That we call it the information war. So you don't think they're at war, and if you do not know you're at war, you've already lost.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude, there's so many people that are just, if it's not on TV, it's not true. They believe everything that's on TV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think, things like what we do and what ABL does is good. Because when I tell people about, Trump or whatever, and they don't believe me, then I show them ABL talking about it, or, Mark Dice talking about it, and they start to change a little bit because the TV's telling them something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I think back in the 50s and 40s, people were more, they just believe what the news says, because a lot of the people that are older than us, like, they'll seem like they go with whatever the news says without any forethought about it for some reason.
Yeah, it seems like critical thinking is lost on a lot of people.
Right. And also, so the Islamic thing that's going on, they want a global caliphate, and they're being used by the communists and the leftists to cause a destabilization, which is kind of ironic that, because like Marxism is supposed to be atheistic and against religion, and the Muslims don't realize that they would be killed off by those people also. I mean, and it's real silly, and it just shows that all these like demonic things just kind of work together and like a little organization against the people and stuff. So I want to make that clear to you that the West Coast was made liberal because if there was some kind of land invasion by the Chinese, it would be easier to take them over than it would be the red states.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Notwithstanding, I mean, there are a lot of wet little pussies, but they try to regulate gun control so much that even if you wanted to fight, like they were handing out rifles and stuff to the citizens of Ukraine supposedly because they had nothing to fight with. Like, hey man, we're being attacked right now. Y'all want some guns? Like that's too late. Then you're trying to pass stuff out to little old ladies that can't even carry a damn grocery bag. You know what I mean? You're way behind the game at this point.
Mm-hmm. And and the people, they don't have any kind of self-defense and whatnot, and there are many different things that they could do and use, like guns and whatnot, and that the people, that's why I totally believe in the gun rights. And I like with the country people that they are very self-reliant, and it's like the people, a lot of people in the city are not as self-reliant. They follow say those police and whatnot, and the police is good to have, but the thing is, I like the self-reliance that a lot of people I notice in the city don't really do as much, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there was a clip that Sonia played on her show last night of this comedian saying basically that exact thing, how people in the cities like New York and in the urban parts of the world look bad on the Midwest people like they're a bunch of hicks and farmers, but they would cry or bleed the first time they picked up a shovel, and we make your food.
Oh, yeah.
You don't produce a damn thing, you don't do a damn thing. But they look down on us like we're stupid,
Oh, yeah, because, when I was young, I was in Mississippi, and I was around the country people, and I liked it a lot. And then I was in, so my mom's aunt, she married a country guy, and he's from Tennessee, and they were living in Kentucky, and I spent a little bit of the summer there, and it was really, really nice there. And I went to Georgia and Tennessee. Like, I flew over Tennessee. And also, I was like, it's really cool here and all. And also, so I had like a taste of it. And I like to do, as I like to do like farming and gardening and whatnot. And I'm getting into like chickens and different things because the food sources are being corrupted by China too. I can get to that in a moment. But so basically, remember my old girlfriend from school She loved New York and the city and stuff, and sometimes I kind of know I didn't like it. She kind of put the country people down, but then, she was extremely soft, and she was kind of liberal, and I kind of realized that, and it wasn't because she was liberal. That would have happened later. It's just that she was just kind of, maybe had some problems with her head, and she just kind of, it kind of drifted from me, and her family was really, really strict and caused her to get more soft. Then I come around you all a little bit later through, ABL, and then I remembered, because I have friends that are like me and my family, and I liked the country people seeing better at being self-reliant with self-defense, just as you were saying. And I could clarify this because people I know from school. Remember this one lady, she had, these cars and different things, and I think about it, even some of the cars my family had, it's like they're useless if you had to go through the woods or something for some reason. Like the city, although my family is very like the country people with the guns and stuff, thankfully, but a lot of the stuff in the city was made to make people soft, I think.
Yep, they're already in concentration camps. They just don't really know it.
Right. And I'll say China, for instance, they have been trying to, as I said on ABL, trying to buy out the farmers, and they're giving the food to China, and they're giving the food to the, in their own country, and also they're trying to take it over and, make everything more expensive. And people don't realize that, and if they took control of the food source, the people in the city are going to have problems.
Yeah, I think they're already seeing that they have problems. Like, if they don't deliver it to you, what do you do then? They don't know how to hunt it. They don't know how to grow it. They don't know how to do anything without somebody else. And stuff hadn't even got tight yet as far as food resources go. And they're already, robbing stores. And you saw the Walmarts getting told, 2 Walmarts, I think they were the only ones in that Portland area. They're totally moving up out of there. And for a Walmart to move, you got to have a bad area. You know what I mean? They're in some of the worst places out there. Some good ones too, obviously, but there ain't a place that Walmart don't go. That's my point, But in order for them to leave or want to leave, they're losing a lot of money there. It's got to be a bad situation.
I totally agree. My Walmart, I remember it's kind of the one in my area. It's kind of like a black one, and some of the people there are very well dressed like ABL, and you have other people that are real ghetto and then trashy. And, sometimes they get out of hand. And, I remember when I was in Mississippi, and it was very nice at the Walmarts. And although, there's a nice Winn-Dixie in my area where there's ABL people everywhere. And, the well-dressed black people and whatnot, that's pretty cool. But yeah, when I was little, I remember during Hurricane Katrina when I evacuated with my family, went to that same aunt that I talked to you about that was in Kentucky. We went to Florida. And we were there, and then I remember we went to Mississippi in a trailer park, like a camping ground, and I remember the people hunted, and I learned all about it. And my mom, she's kind of like a city person. She didn't want me to go out and participate in it, but I learned everything about it, and I learned about planting stuff and guns and different things. I'm thankful for that experience because you could make sense of things looking back. You're not looking forward, looking back. I'm glad that I was in those situations where I have that, self-reliant nature that the other people don't have.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad you realized that too. It's not lost on you that, you don't have to have a whole lot of skills to survive out there, but some people are lacking super, super deficient in any type of skills, critical thinking skills, just basic stuff that's going to keep you alive. If McDonald's ain't giving it to them, they don't know what to do.
Right. And what I remember, my friend that actually, I talked about aliens with when I was young, and this is where the inspiration for the channel came from that he knew about, and he kind of drifted and went to did college stuff, and I just was learning stuff online and hung out on YouTube and met you all. And so basically, he was telling me about a lot about survival tactics and stuff, how to survive in the woods, and then I kept looking at it, and took it seriously, of course, and I'm still doing it and looking at things, and that's survive in the woods and stuff, because he had a place up kind of across the lake where they would have kind of be in the woods and stuff, and they're still up there. And I'm glad that I was around those people like that. So a lot of my friends from school are just self-reliant, but there was a group of them that said they like to go on. There's nothing wrong with having nice things and whatnot as long as it's people aren't too spoiled. But a lot of the spoiled people, in a survivalist situation, it would be useless And I'm glad that I kind of come from, like, I could see kind of both. And I like being around people that are self-reliant also, like you all.
There's no other way to be, in my opinion. I grew up being on my own my whole life, pretty much. I mean, obviously I had a family, but I wanted to leave my house when I was 16. I was ready to get up out of there and do my own thing and be my own man when I was young, you know? So I don't really know what it's like to have to rely on other people for stuff. If you don't get it done yourself, it'll never get done in my world.
Exactly. And like with me, I stayed and helped my family, but I take care of myself. And like my aunt was like, why do I stay here and stuff? I'm like, it was nice to help my grandparents. Like my grandma, I helped her up the stairs, and she just came down for the first time the other day. And like I stayed to help my family and learn stuff from them and help with the family business and do my own thing. And like that's why I stayed. I could have left, but I wanted to stay here, and I have this nice big area. I like to plant stuff, and my radishes are ready. I have to upload a video about it, and it's good. I could just go my yard and I could sell them. I could eat them myself. And also I'm interested in chickens.
Yeah, have you got any of that yet, or are you just kind of looking into it?
Okay, so my stuff got delayed because of like my grandma and different things, and my ad campaigns have been going well, and I just completed the cycle, and now I'm looking into like how you take care of them and how I will do that, and then I'll put up the little chicken coop and whatnot, and I'm thinking about what to do because I want to make it strong. Well, the thing I put up make it strong because the hurricanes will come in and hopefully not knock it over. I'll build it strong enough.
Yeah. There was one video I saw too. I can't remember who it was, but it was the self-sufficient me type guy. And this person was raising chickens. It might have even been him because he has all types of different animals on there. But he had the chicken coop and let them like do their area. Then he would get inside the chicken coop and pick it up like over his shoulders, and walk it kind of to the next area. And they would fertilize that area, and then the grass would grow back and the cows would come and eat the new grass. The whole cycle would just kept going. You know what I mean? So try to put it in a place where you could do that. I guess you could kind of pick it up and move it from time to time.
Yeah. And because my yard is really big and I have the area where it'll be at, and I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thanks. And basically, because I'm like a little like alien farm, and and also, I remember that basically, that my corn is coming out. What I want to say is that my corn's coming out really well. It's getting bigger, and I feel like God, brings in the right people and takes out the wrong people, because of looking back, because that girl was very liberal. And it was good I got away from that.
Sonia said you dodged a bullet on that, by the way.
Yeah. And because I was thinking I remember the day. I was like, it was like in the beginning with ABL. I was like, okay, I will see you show her ABL live. And then she just kind of completely drifted from me completely. And I'm like, and I'm just like, it's like, you say something and you do something else, and her family was very strict, and they didn't really let her do anything with me. And she said she'd stay in touch with me. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And it just kind of slowly just goes along, and it's kind of be in limbo. And then I go on here and talk to everybody, and I was like, yeah, I could definitely see the difference. And also, what I think basically is the people are not going to do too well in these situations if they don't prepare. Like, what are your thoughts about the situation with the farming crisis, how the China and the one thing I want to ask you, why do you think Bill Gates wants to buy all the farms?
Yeah, me and Sonia kind of touched on that yesterday. Sonia, what was the other thing that he was buying? He just got into buying something else. Oh, Heineken. He's investing in that shit now. I mean, I know it's part one world domination, one part controlling people, and just another part of being rich as hell, and now your hobby is just buying stuff. You know what I mean? You're going to buy and sell anything and everything you can.
Right. And I think with the farming, it's a way to control the people, and I think that those corporations could be having an alliance with China and those places. And I wonder, what their main end goal is with the farming thing, like why China wants to buy them all up. They probably just want to do something to the American people's food supply, obviously.
Well, if you can control the food, you can control the people, I guess. You know what I mean? If they said, hey, we want things to run this way, well, no, we're not going to do that. And if Trump got back in there, let's say, and he put tariffs on them, well, if they own all the farmland and own all the food, they can just shut down production on everything and starve us out. What are we going to do?
Exactly. And also, with the Chinese, it's like the people, they'll understand that another converted spy of the Chinese is the thing with the people, the vegetarian groups. So I talked to farmers, and a lot of them are saying, like, that they take good care of their animals, and they're not given hormones and things. And I see that they make up propaganda, and they'll even chain themselves up to a duck decapitation device, and then they get upset when the machine gets turned on.
I saw that video. I played it on my show. They were screaming like little pigs. I'm like, oh, yeah, shit's getting real now. You never thought that thing was going to get turned on, and then somebody called you bluff. Like, hey, you must get your head cut off. I mean, that's on you. We play, what do they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes?
Right, exactly. Very well said. And basically what they're doing is they are part of this agenda because, the people are saying they want to help animals and stuff, and they want to do that in their own private terms. That's their business. But basically, they're part of the problem because, say, the vegetarians need certain supplements and things, and it's like they're not going to give it to them, and they could just cut that off and get rid of all the food. So that's going to the source of the problem. That's the thing. And I remember there was a farmer debating some vegans because I kind of spy on the vegans, and basically they, want to put us in concentration camps, and they want to feed us whatever. They want to destroy us, and it's like you're going to destroy a whole human being over an animal, and you don't want animals to get killed. Like,
yeah, that's first world problems. You know what I mean? It's so funny to me that our society is so privileged that you can pick and choose what food that you want to eat or not eat. When back in the day, to be a vegetarian meant that you didn't hunt down whatever you needed to hunt. It was too fast for you. So now you're eating whatever leafy vegetable is right there by you at that time. You know what I mean?
Right.
People need a reality check.
Right. And they want to go after the people, but if a person is more important than like an animal in some kind of sense, that's, and they're saying, like, if they want to hurt a person, but they don't want to hurt animals, but maybe you shouldn't hurt anybody. But with the animals, like, my mom was kind of wanting me to be into the vegetarian stuff, and it didn't really do well for me. And I went back when I was young to meat, and a lot of the stuff they put in the vegetarian stuff isn't good, isn't really healthy. And my uncle in England is really into it, and he had a big war with me about many different things. And he blew up at me, and he was telling me about how I don't feel empathy for animals, and I don't feel for them, and their different stuff that I think and stuff. And it's just these people get really emotional about it.
Yeah, but not everybody's on his wave. You know what I mean? Like the truck driver that supplied him with the food that he's eating, as being a vegan person, he probably ate meat. Mm-hmm. All the production people that are on the line, they probably eat meat. All the people in the office, they probably eat meat. So if he disregarded all those people, your food would not even get to your place.
Exactly. And basically, they don't really look in depth about that. And I think that it's this is a part of the collapse of the civilization. And because I remember on my channel, I put out an ad about the farms, and I'll get a lot of different people that will talk to me, and they're telling me in Holland, a couple thousand farms were destroyed recently.
Say that one more time. I was reading something Sonia sent me.
All right, so a couple of thousand farms were destroyed in Holland. One of the subscribers told me when I was talking about the farms.
Oh shit! When did that happen?
Happened recently.
Yeah, enlighten me on that, because the last I heard about that it was a possibility they were doing that to turn it into land for apartments and shit? Is that anywhere near where you're talking about?
Yeah, so I think and this one apparently is a new thing, but I heard about some other incident back in the past. I don't quite recall exactly what they were doing. Maybe they were doing that. But so farmers were doing some stuff and they wanted to get rid of the farmers because it hurt the environment or something, and then the farmers retaliated, and then there's like this big war with the government, and they're fighting each other. And now it seems like, this could be, from that time period, but apparently it's something recent because it was a recent comment that the farms were destroyed. And so in Europe, they're having a problem. Like, for instance, and this is how you could see the resemblance between communism and the Soviet Union, big communism, and that's kind of being implemented here. So in Ukraine, and this is probably why the people there don't like Russia. Well, the people there like Russia, but this is why people may not be a big fan of Russia that are there or whatever. So the Soviet Union, they had this collectivist thing for communism, for their utopia. And then they had this famine because they starved all these farmers to death, and everybody died of starvation. And this mass, it's called the Holodomor. And all these farmers died, and these people got starved to death. And so the communists, when they come in, they'll take all the food and this stuff. And this is kind of like what they're trying to do here. And you can clearly see that. Now.
Yeah, we waste so much food in this country too, man. It's ridiculous on top of ridiculous, Where do you begin?
Right.
It's so convoluted. Where do you even start?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, I know the begin is basically the different regions where people are. And that's one way to see it, because you'll have these people in the big cities, and they'll vote for a policy, like say in Georgia. Atlanta, they all voted for the left, and all the surrounding regions didn't vote for it. So a way they did this was to manipulate things to make the city people that are going to suffer the most vote for something that's going to hurt them, and then it drags the whole state down.
Yeah, with the end goal being what?
The end goal is to, the whole end goal is to try to put some kind of totalitarian communistic system in America and take away, the food, kind of do what they did in Europe. And also, look, in Europe right now, they are doing the same thing in Western Europe, and it's way, way worse because the Americans are self-reliant and they're patriots. It's a little bit more difficult to do because we're not as malleable. So their end goal is to just take us over with their communist ideology and destroy our lives and ruin all of our stuff and everything that we built. And that's the end goal. But you see, it's slow because we're not going to accept it. And I really don't think it's going to work. And I think they know that. Like, if they fully implemented it, like, the Patriots would rise against it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why they're going so slow with it. It's just a slow drip, and maybe they'll wait us all out. We'll all die out before they actually finally make the final move, But that's how long they're in the long game. That's what it was. Dr. Min Yang, I believe, was her name, the Chinese defector. She was talking about how that was made in a lab and all that on purpose, and it was released on purpose, and because they hate us, and it's something that a lot of people fail to actually realize. Like, you don't understand how much they hate y'all. Like, they hate y'all beyond anything in the world. Like, dude, you need to understand that. So they infiltrated every system in our society, I believe. Education, government, production, land, anything and everything you can think of on a higher level, on a more intricate level, China has infiltrated it.
Yeah, because if you look at TikTok, you'll see that the people, in China are shown something different than we're shown here. And with TikTok, they want to, I hate to see military people on TikTok. It makes me cringe because all these Chinese people are seeing what our military does.
Yeah, they even asked Jean, whatever the hell her name is, Jean-Pierre, about that the other day. They said that TikTok is dangerous. Is President Biden, going to block it, and there will be any repercussions for somebody in the government that still uses it? And she danced all around that answer when that should just be a yes or no. And you know how she does.
Exactly.
She didn't answer yes or no.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it means that there's a lot of corruption up in there. And another thing about TikTok is that there's especially the decay of our culture in mounts. The movies and the TV shows and TikTok are all promoting the destruction, decay of the American culture and the Western culture everywhere. And this is being used as a weapon by the enemies to destroy our civilization. And then TikTok is the main goal, the main source that is being used to implement this idea on the children and all the different people. And I've been thinking a lot lately about the transgender and the drag queen story time with the kids and the different things they've been doing with the kids. And it's absolutely, disgusting what they're doing with them. And, all of this has to do with the same thing, because they take the youth, they'll take the people.
Yeah, and do you think that they are so addicted, the young folks today are so addicted to TikTok that if, like, let's say Trump comes back in there, he bans that shit straight away, people are going to lose their damn mind like they're some addicts or something?
Oh, yes. I certainly believe that this is going to occur, that they're going to be so, because it's like a drug, the way Facebook, ironically, and because I know you're not a big fan of Facebook and it is quite outdated, and Twitter and Instagram, all these things were designed to get people addicted to their platforms so they could put more ads out and make more money. That's why the whole things were designed, the dead scrolling, and TikTok is the even worse. It's the worst one. And the people are addicted to these dopamine rushes. And then when they lose it, they're going to lose their minds, and they're going to have a terrible withdrawal.
And I saw a big surge, in my opinion, in the whole trans thing and messing with children and all that mess. It seemed like it really escalated when TikTok came onto the scene. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, it definitely escalated. And the way that they did it, these short videos, like you and I both, upload shorts to our YouTube channels, and we both know that they require quite a bit of views. So the other people saw this, and people, sometimes they don't want to watch a whole video I've read or saw a video about. And the reason these people just keep on going over and over again about the stuff, that gives them an instant gratification quickly. It keeps doing it over and over again. It's like a little match that keeps lighting up, and it keeps giving them fire. And so these things were used to brainwash the youth, and it started with TikTok. And TikTok is a weapon from China. And like me, from my perspective, I wouldn't trust an app from communist China. And I don't even have the app. I don't want to get the app. And my sister is kind of, sometimes says silly things. She wanted me to get it. And I'm like, I don't want to get it. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't have it, and I don't like messing with any. The only thing I ever see on TikTok is through Twitter, thank God, but still, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't directly interact with it whatsoever for all those security reasons.
Right. And, like my sister was saying, like, because when I was telling her about me looking like the different people from the royal family, and, she gets kind of, triggered by it because, she'll kind of be jealous of the queen, and she doesn't, say it physically. And but she's, against her. Like I'm not against him, but I said earlier, maybe some things that could be going on in there. But, she's, really against him because of TikTok said that they did some bad things to people. And it's like, you're going to believe TikTok, but you're not going to, you're going to take that seriously. It's not worth my time of day reasoning with someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. If they believe everything
Right.
that they see on TV or it's not true, then it's almost a lost cause. You know what I mean? How are you supposed to argue with these people or even reason with them?
Right. Right, and I was looking at the workers' unions, and I want to see, because I know there's a scheme behind these socialist stuff. It makes people rich. It's some kind of a scam. So I looked into it, and yeah, it definitely causes a rift between the workers and the employees, and also you get people to pay to join it, and it brings big capital to the people that are running it.
Oh yeah, it's more than money. It seems like it's a multifaceted thing. It's money, it's control, it's power, it's dumbing down the society. I mean, there's lots of ways that are positive for them to do everything that they're doing. Right, and I think it's interesting, as Sonia pointed out when I was mentioning last time about Germany, that a lot of this stuff is what happened in what was called the Weimar Republic, with the transgenders and the LGBTQ stuff. And it's interesting. It's like, I wonder why, our country didn't, say, I know we talked about this before, but they could have been, banning certain things. Remember, they slowly implemented it over time
to get people into it. Like, Mark Dice was saying, they just want to get married, and then they go read things to children, and they want to do this and that. It's like little baby steps.
Yeah, just a slow burn, a little bit at a time.
Yeah. And also, what I recall is basically they, do these things over there, and, they bring it over here. And I think basically with, like with TikTok is another thing that's linked to it. Because imagine in that time period they were able to have that technology, it would have been really bad. And now we have like people all over the planet seeing these things. And now, why do you think, parents are not watching what their kids are doing on the internet with these TikTok things?
I think they're lazy, and they think that that's just a babysitter. They're quiet. They're not bothering me right now. I can go live my best life and not have to worry about them. The same thing with schools. They consider it to be a babysitter. They don't want to teach their kids to read. They don't want to read a book to them. They don't want to sit down and spend time with them and invest time in them. You get out of them what you put into them, in my opinion. When you're raising kids, if you put love into them, knowledge into them, you're going to get something back out of it. Like you're growing your vegetables and stuff, you could just set it out in the sun and let it kind of do its own thing. But if you if you had a gardener come over and tend to it,
yeah,
you lifting off.
I was gonna lift off, but it kind of backfired for a second.
But that's what I think. It's just a big babysitter. They don't want to invest the time into their kids. And when the lockdown stuff happened, I think people were kind of forced to see what was going on in the schools, and they really didn't like what they saw.
Right. And do you know, I've asked ABL this, but do you know in your area if you heard anything in the news that schools are trying to get rid of police in schools? Have you heard of that?
No, I don't think I heard about that.
Okay, so I heard in that region, like kind of where like you are sort of, there's some police, and the BLM people didn't want police in schools anymore, and this is just going to cause the people to be more violent and do more bad things, like when you take them away.
Yeah, but if somebody like Trump or a right-winger came up there and went upside somebody's head with a baseball bat, it'd be the first person they call was the cops.
Oh, yeah, I remember when, I remember during the BLM riots, this Mexican guy that owned a store, he was, he had his chainsaw, and he turned his chainsaw on, and he told him to go away.
Yeah, I saw that one. They ran like hell, too. I mean, there's no negotiation. You're not going to say, hey, excuse me, sir, and get up in their face with a megaphone like, dude, I'll chop your ass in half. You better get out of here.
And, I remember when that was going on, I had my World II helmet on. I got from the World II Museum because there's one in New Orleans. And I'm obviously very interested in World II. And I had my, and I was just ready to go and defend my house. And then I remember the guy, the Smoking Scan in California was like, because he does like the live streams about that stuff. And they're in New Orleans. I'm like praying that they don't come here. And the New Orleans police, ironically, was able to block them from coming through the city. And my friends from school, a lot of them that were liberal that I told you about, I've told you I've known some liberal people in school and some of the city folk that were not self-reliant. They had the BLM stuff like in their bio, and then they had this link to this website that led to BLM's website, and they took pictures of the riot, them on the interstate. So they're gonna, my good old bows are gonna come burn my house down. That was nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember, and some people they'll tell me. I didn't really ask it was like some ladies. I didn't really talk to them. They weren't really my type, but like. People were kind of like my area. Sometimes it was kind of scares them because there's like it's kind of dangerous, and some black people might do this or that or whatever. But I'm still alive. But so it's like there are people going to come over to my house to go burn it down.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when all that BLM stuff was happening in Seattle and whatnot. That people were just afraid to come out of their houses because you have groups of assholes standing out on your front lawn out there yelling with megaphones and all this shit. I'm like, dude, I don't know where y'all get this behavior from, but not everybody's going to tolerate that. You don't want to go to the wrong neighborhood. Right,
especially, my area, I don't think they would put up with it. And basically, because like my area, it's like they're black, but it's kind of, this area's kind of like rural. It's kind of like the country, and they're sort of, and like there's people out here that grow stuff and have chickens and things actually out here, and thankfully, because my family lived in an area called Lakeview in New Orleans, so that area is it's like one of those, it's like a kind of fancier area. And then my grandma didn't want to live there, and also if it flooded, it would destroy the whole house. Like, it would be over the roof. So they moved out here where his parents moved where they used to live when they died, and they just moved out here. And although it flooded, it didn't flood as bad as it could have been. And yeah, I'm glad that they moved back here. And actually, this house I live in now, I lived down the street of one of their houses. Then we went down here after the hurricane, and it had this nice big yard. I prayed for a big yard, and I got a big yard. So basically, I'm glad that I got out of that region, because the yards are so small, you couldn't really do anything, and it's tightly regulated by the city. Like, the city will be like, in the certain parts of the city, they'll look at you with binoculars and be like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But out here, no one really cares. Like, you just do what you want to do.
Yeah, and we got a lot of freedom out in the I guess you would say the country. I'm not in the country, I'm in the city somewhat, you know what I mean? But the country is not too far away. I mean, you take a 30-minute drive and you're right in the middle of the horses and shit, so thank God on that. I feel bad for the people that are in the concrete jungle. They really can't get out, you know what I mean? If something really does happen to them, they're in a bad situation.
Yeah, so I want to tell you about World War II. So I was studying some things more about the fall of Berlin, and so the Russians were coming through Berlin, and the Hitler's in the bunker. There's like a scene of it on YouTube. It's people made like memes out of it. Like, they changed the subtitles to saying like something else, like about Trump's election or Biden or something, or the balloon. And Hitler gives his last speech, his last rant. And so this guy, Steiner, he was supposed to get these 15-year-olds and these young people to fight for the city and like get rid of the Soviets from taking over the city. And the guy decided not to do it and bring people to the other area. And then they told him, he said, Steiner got this. He's like, no, actually, she didn't do it. And they're like 4 blocks from us. And everyone's staring at him saying, what do we do next? And he was like, the war has been lost, everybody. And he was going to go blow his brains out. And so, and people made memes about Steiner. Like, they made this they have like this utopian city. They're like, if Steiner's attack worked, this is what the world would be like. And then they have this meme of SpongeBob, of this dude about to kill SpongeBob and the Krusty Krab. And it's like when Steiner doesn't use 15-year-olds in a useless counterattack against the Soviets. And Hitler's like, what have you done with my 1,000-year Reich?
Those memes are crazy.
There's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of funny SpongeBob memes. And I make memes, I'll send them to you. And like with different animals and stuff. And yeah, so basically, so Steiner, he didn't do the attack, and then Berlin became under the Soviets' control, and then that's where this thing comes from. So the people in Ukraine, as I said, I don't understand like exactly. I understand like the like people that have the Nazi tendencies or whatever over there. It's like if people were like unjustly attacking the Russians for no reason, I think that's wrong. But like the people want revenge. But, like, the Bolshevik communist influence is now in the West. So the Ukrainians would be starved to death through a famine through the West, through the Western policies. They're going through the back door this time because Russia isn't communist anymore, and there's no point in taking it over. Like, say, NATO and the West in the 50s and the different eras, they wanted to get rid of communism from Russia, they said. So communism's gone, but they still don't like Russia because they got compromised by other people, and people hold grudges. So I try to look at it through a logical perspective. Like, they think they're getting revenge on Moscow, and they're going to go invade it, and they're going to go. But then later on, it's going to be like all Europe will be woke, and you're going to have them everywhere, and they're going to go, oh, well, they shouldn't have done that, and that's when people get in their emotions. So, so the fall of Berlin, it was because Steiner didn't do this attack. But if it would have worked or not, who knows? It was just like a bunch of little kids, like teenagers and like women. Fighting off the city, and this guy is going, we got this. Like, there's all around them. There's like fires everywhere. He's like, okay, this is gonna be all right. It's kind of like Brandon when he's like, America's good.
Yeah. Speaking of him and the war, Trump has came out several times and put videos out. He put out another one today. I'm going to play it in a minute, where he's trying to prevent World War III, and he's saying, like, dude, this could be easily solved, but nobody seems like they want to even address talks with Russia. They're trying to escalate it as far as it's going to go till who gets provoked to do what.
Yeah. So this is kind of frightening because it shows you how much the people in our country hate us, because if there's some kind of, nuclear war, I mean, none of us are really going to be around if that happens. But I think, they just want to escalate it so there could get a bigger conflict. And I think it's interesting that all these liberals, all these people, and especially the people from the Vietnam War that were against it, are now for war in Ukraine. Like, all these anti-war people are now for war. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it seems like they're saying, no war, and then they can't wait to get it going with Russia if you keep messing with Ukraine. I don't understand what's so special about Ukraine other than it fits their agenda.
Yeah, I remember when I was studying about the different peoples in Europe and whatnot. In Eastern Europe, around that area, in Russia and that eastern side, I remember that's where a lot of the Jewish people were, and then that was one of the areas that they settled in when they went through Spain and France, and they went through Germany, and they settled around that area. And I remember with Ukraine, one of the communists came from there, and Ukraine seems like it has some like nice countryside and stuff. It's pretty cool. But so the people that I've talked to in Ukraine, they seem like they support Russia.
It seems like they support Russia.
Yeah, like they were telling me, like they like Russia. Now, not everyone probably supports them, but it's like they know like what I'm talking about. Like the woke people will like take them over from the West. If you could look at the West, like what Putin said, and he made this very clear. I remember sometimes I like to look at law stuff on YouTube, and they say you got to make it very clear what you mean. And Putin on national television is very clear. The West is doing, LGBTQ stuff. They're going against Christianity. I mean, everyone from the past, in the 50s, the 40s, everybody would have loved Russia to be talking about Christianity again, because Russia was an atheist state that persecuted and massacred Christians everywhere and their own people. So, and that should align with America's values. I mean, America originally was supposed to be against those things. Russia and America should be best friends. But America was, through the art of war, and America not fully understanding what was going on because they weren't, they didn't know these things were going on. They took it over and they hijacked it, and so now it's the other way around. The communists got their way either way. But, a mistake is only a mistake if you keep repeating it. So it's good if people learn from their mistakes and not keep repeating it.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're making a huge mistake with not trying to make some kind of peace offering over here with this thing. I mean, they're going to keep pushing Russia until they have nothing to lose anymore. You back them into a corner, there ain't no telling what they're going to do.
Right. Say, it's good, I like talking to you all, and it's good that I'm making a joke. I'm not pushing a corner to be around some, ghetto black people, but I'm put it with you all, which is good. And, when you put Russia and China, they put them in a corner, and they get kind of, and you keep poking them, and you keep going, LGBTQ, and you go BLM, and the soy boy and the soy girl are getting in their face, and they're just going to go and tear everybody up.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more.
Right. And have you seen this thing where there's a woman twerking upside down that was black?
Say that again one more time.
All right. So there was a degenerate thing that I saw, a Paul Joseph Watson cover, and a long time ago, and this woman was twerking upside down, and she was a black lady, and it was for her campaign.
Yeah, I saw that. I can't remember her name right off the top of my bat. The chat might know who it is, though. Just way of telling us that phone call was getting too long. Shout out to Alien, though, for calling in. I appreciate that. I hope it's not looping. Let me see where we're at. Yeah, I saw that, 6. ABL is on Tatum with Jericho and Craig. Yeah, if y'all want to jump over there, go on ahead. I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here anyway. I'm gonna set up, get ready for that Uncle Tom 2 movie. I don't know why I did that. I mean, it's not like I had a 1 million windows open. I had a couple open, but not a million. Oh, we're back. Cool. Yeah, good talk, man. Sorry about that phone drop on that thing. My computer's being dumb right now. Definitely appreciate you calling in, sir. Alien's always a good call. I appreciate y'all. I think it killed the stream on all the rest of the platforms, though, so we're only live on YouTube again. Yeah, sorry it hung up on you on there. That was not my fault. I think that was the universe telling me that we were going too long on that call. The congressman upside down twerking, who also promotes the pleasure-based sex eds for kids. Yeah, you overworked the ship, sir. We need you to come in for a landing. Too much power. We don't have any more power, Captain. I've given her all she's got. So yeah, great call from Alien. Let's finish up with this Trump speech about World War III, how to prevent it. If we can get through that, we're going to end it off, and then we're going to do Uncle Tom 2 tonight over on the Rommel channel. Make sure you guys follow me over there. Atomic is telling us to get over to the other thing. So we're going to watch this Trump thing real quick, and then we're all going to jump over to ABL. Go watch Tatum's show with Jericho and ABL. That's all right.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership. Every day this proxy battle in Ukraine continues, we risk global war. We must be absolutely clear that our objective is to immediately have a total cessation of hostilities. All shooting has to stop. This is the central issue. We need peace without delay. In addition,
we're going to have cookies and cakes after this too, just so y'all know, after we do Trump.
There must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad, while they turn us into a third world country and a third world dictatorship right here at home. The State Department, the defense bureaucracy, the intelligence services, and all of the rest need to be completely overhauled and reconstituted to fire the deep staters and put America first. We have to put America first. Finally, we have to finish the process we began under my administration of fundamentally reevaluating NATO's purpose and NATO's mission. Our foreign policy establishment keeps trying to pull the world into conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia based on the lie that Russia represents our greatest threat. But the greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably, more than anything else, ourselves and some of the horrible USA-hating people that represent us. It's the abolition of our national borders. It's the failure to police our own cities. It's the destruction of the rule of law from within. It's the collapse of the nuclear family and fertility rates like nobody can believe is happening. It's the Marxists who would have us become a godless nation worshiping at the altar of race, and gender and environment. And it's the globalist class that has made us totally dependent on China and other foreign countries that basically hate us. These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas while keeping us distracted from the havoc they're creating right here at home. These forces are doing more damage to America than Russia and China could ever have dreamed. Evicting this sick and corrupt establishment is the monumental task for the next president. And I am the only one who can do it. I'm the only one that can get the job done. I know exactly what has to be done.
Go get him, Trump. Yeah, so your boy's got a plan. Hopefully he can implement that plan before we go to hell in a handbasket. All right, let's do cookies and cakes, and then we're going to go watch Jericho Green hang out with ABL and them. Right as soon as I started my stream, he came on to his on my feed and was talking about, hey, they were going live. I'm like, 7 o'clock, dude. What are you doing going live right now? Like, what the hell? And he said ABL and everybody's going to be over there. So y'all tell me what the hell's going on in this clip. RIP headphone user. Sorry about that. Like there's an ambulance coming to get some people. But people over here popping coochie with everybody over here serving cookies and cakes. What the hell's going on over here? Is this what happens when you have the ambulance pull up there? It's the ambulance. Bald headed as hell, girl. You ain't got no hair on your head. What are you doing? These motherfuckers are wilding out, son. Somebody trying to get put into an ambulance and they're over here having a damn party, popping ass, serving cookies and cake. Look, on the hood of the thing, standing on the windshield area. Hit the gas, homie. Like, what do y'all do, man? What's going on here? That's it for me tonight, man. Holy shit. Cookies and cakes. Cookies and cakes. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. Shout out to all my rebels. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for all the technical difficulties. I appreciate it. Boom. Make sure you check me out right after this stream here. It'll probably be about 10 o'clock or so. Let me get the movie situated. We're going to watch that Uncle Tom 2. But until then, we're going to run over to the Officer Tatum channel and check out Jericho Green with ABL. I finally get those done. So yeah, peace out, guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. Shout out to Alien. Shout out to 666. SE Wolverines, as always. Devin was in the house. Guardius, everybody that came in tonight. I appreciate y'all so much. But I will see y'all over on Jericho's channel. Let me get all this movie set up. We're going to watch the Uncle Tom 2 here in just a little bit on Rumble. Peace out, guys.